In this video, we'll be exploring the power of questions in your youth work and life in general, touching on why asking questions is important, defining what makes a powerful question, providing some examples, and most importantly, you'll be able to identify a few tangible ways to strengthen this in your practice. So, hopefully, these images are familiar to you. These represent both the Youth Program Quality Assessment, or the YPQA, and the Social Emotional Learning Program of Quality Assessment, the SELPQA. Both of these frameworks provide our network a shared language to use as we learn, discuss, and plan for high quality programs. As you can see, today's topic on asking powerful questions directly impacts many of the skills we see laid out here in different ways, some very directly. For example, the SELPQA has multiple items where it specifically lays out staff asks, and then the item recognizing questions are a part of that scale. And others are inferred. For example, staff guide and support young people in attempting to figure out for themselves how to improve. And while there may be multiple ways to guide and support young people in improving or problem solving, asking the right questions absolutely supports modeling with young people that they have the power and know how to improve or come up with solutions. So when you think about what is that one skill that I can work on to become stronger youth worker or with any relationships, coworkers, family, etc., I think building your practice and asking powerful questions is the way to go. As we just saw, asking questions is a powerful way to support many of the key practices that create high quality experiences for young people. And quality matters. Research shows that high quality programs lead to better outcomes for youth. They strengthen connections. Those questions build relationships and show you care, and they deepen those social bonds. They build confidence and growth mindset. They affirm that young people are trusted and capable, encouraging them to think critically and explore solutions. And it deepens thinking. A question sparks new ideas, solutions, and perspectives. And finally, it fosters engagement and ownership. By tapping into young people's voices and ideas, questions create a greater investment in the program experience. Before we jump to examples, I want to pause and remind everyone about two different types of questions: close-ended and open-ended. Close-ended questions usually have a limited set of responses, maybe just one word or a right answer, or a question that elicits an answer and it just ends conversation. Open-ended, or what I'm thinking is powerful questions, encourage deeper, more meaningful responses. They invite young people to share what they think, how they feel, or what they understand. Sometimes a question that sounds close-ended has the potential to become an open-ended question. It just depends on a little extra prompting. For example, if I asked, "What place would you like to travel?" you might give me a one-word answer. Or if I asked, "What's the answer to this math problem?" it would be a flat answer. But if I follow up with, "What about that place interests you?" or "How did you come up with that answer?" I get a much richer response. That's the goal of open-ended questions. So I'm going to run through some examples of how questions can show up in your program in different ways. Many will be open-ended, but you'll notice some closed-ended ones too. When used intentionally, both types are useful. The key is always thinking about the purpose of the question. You may recognize things you're already doing, which is great. You might also hear new ideas that spark ways to bring more powerful questions into your practice. So let's get started. These are examples of questions that many youth workers may already use in icebreakers and other activities. The opening prompts. A lot of these tend to be what type questions. Depending on your group, you might want to add a simple and why to encourage deeper sharing. For example, if I just said, "My favorite childhood toy was a giant stuffed bear named Ted, Ted E. Bear," that's all you'd know. But if you asked, "And why is it your favorite?" I explained that my grandmother in Georgia gave it to me on one Christmas. I was little and the bear was huge. It felt really special, and I kept it on my bed for many years as a memory of her. See the difference? Instead of just an answer, you now know a little more about me and my story. You might even find a connection, like also having ties in Georgia. That why piece helps people open up, share their values, humor, or interests, and build real connections, all from a simple question. We know in out of school time programs, we do a lot of activities. And so when you think about beginning an activity, this is a great time for questions. Whether it's something familiar or something that's brand new, this can apply to anything: a field trip, kickball, sports practice, STEM challenges, craft projects, or longer project based learning. When activity is familiar, it's tempting to just jump in. But taking a few minutes to ask a couple of powerful questions helps the group pause, remember important details, maybe around safety, and set themselves up for success. For example, if I'm leading an open craft room with perler beads, I might ask, when we've done this before, what made it fun? Or what made it a challenge? Yeah, sometimes the beads spill off the bases, which can be frustrating. What can we do to support each other if that happens? We've been talking about listening to our bodies. How will we know what your body needs during this activity? These questions are not only good to help the group prepare, they also weave in the skills or themes that you want to highlight. When introducing something new, questions are just as valuable. Even if it's not the first time your participants have done something similar, checking in with questions helps uncover what they already know, clarify differences, and build confidence. Here's another example. If your group is about to play kickball, some may have played before, others maybe not. You might ask, what rules have you used in the past? In our game, how will we handle things like foul balls or stealing bases? That way, everyone starts with a shared understanding. And when something is truly brand new, you can tap into the feelings that come with trying something for the first time. How have you felt in the past when you're trying something brand new? Excited or nervous? Or how will you know how you're feeling today? And how can you support yourself and others if those feelings come up? The goal is to use questions not only to prepare for the activity, but also to reinforce the bigger outcomes of your program, whether that's social skills, STEM skills, or self awareness. Asking questions during an activity can be especially powerful, whether to support a young person who's struggling or simply to check in on how things are going. Depending on the setup, this might look like staff walking around the room, having quick one on one conversations, or pausing a large group activity for a whole group check in. These moments give youth a chance to share strategies, name challenges, and describe their own thought process. Here's some examples. In a team activity, what's your strategy so far and how's it working? If you were having an individual project, you might ask, I saw you decide to scrap that design and start fresh. What made you change your mind? In the perler bead activity earlier, you might ask, what are some ideas for keeping the platform steady so the beads don't fall off as easily? These kind of questions don't just solve problems in the moment, they also help youth practice reflection, problem solving, and resilience. Along with icebreakers, reflections is one of the most common times we see powerful questions used. Reflection questions help young people make meaning of their experiences, connecting what they did to what they learned, the skills they practiced, how it went, and what they might try differently in the future. And reflection doesn't just have to happen at the end of the day. It can happen at the end of any activity throughout your program. Sometimes it's a quick check-in with one or two young people. Other time it's a larger group debrief. Here's some examples. After a craft activity, you may ask, how does it feel to have created your perler coasters? In a skill-based reflection, you might ask, what skills helped you get this project done? If you're thinking about self-awareness, you might say, we talked earlier about noticing our bodies during this activity. What did you notice in yourself as you worked today? If your theme is gratitude and teamwork, you might ask, I noticed people helping each other. Who can share a shout out for someone who was especially helpful to you? And of course, my go to reflection question is always, what stood out for you today? From there, you can follow up naturally based on what participants share. So, what's next? How can you keep building your practice with powerful questions? Well, start small, practicing asking open ended questions throughout your day, even outside of programming. You can try it with colleagues, friends, your partner, or your own kids. Powerful questions spark meaningful conversation with people of all ages. Choose one focus area in your program, Instead of trying to do everything at once, pick one spot in your program, maybe an opening prompt, or before an activity, or during that reflection, and start weaving in powerful questions there. And keep learning. There are so many great resources on the internet on how powerful questions can support learning, building relationships, and strengthening skills. If you're interested in coaching others of any age, dig into how different types of questions fit with different ages, goals, and situations. And keep collecting fun new opening prompts. The key is consistency. Every time you practice asking powerful questions, you create more opportunities for young people and yourself to reflect, connect, and grow. And finally, don't forget to download the handouts that go along with this video for quick reference and inspiration. The Asking Powerful Questions handout includes examples from this video, but those are just a starting point to get you thinking. On the backside, you'll find space to brainstorm how powerful questions could show up in the context of your program. And for programs that do lots of crafting, we've included a one-pager for helpful question starters. These can help you see how even a simple craft activity can spark deeper conversations and connections. With just a few powerful questions, you can continue to strengthen relationships, build confidence and growth mindset, deepen reflection and thinking, and foster engagement and ownership. These skills are here to support you as you keep practicing and experimenting with powerful questions in your daily work.